The following program was provided by an independent producer solely responsible for its content. The opinions expressed do not necessarily represent the views of this station, its staff, board of directors, or underwriters.
Hi, this is Ken Gidge, and this is The Art of Politics, and I always start off by saying that no show is like this, and it's the best show in the world because I always have Al Baldessaro, but you know what Al did? He didn't come in today because he's going to be on a larger show, which is Fox News, and he'll be talking about veterans, and he wouldn't come here and do this show. But I got someone even better. We got a gentleman named Mr. McAllister, who happens to be the president of the Firefighters Union here in Nashville.
Hi, Ken. Thanks for having me on.
Absolutely. So isn't that guys like Al Baldessaro, he really gets me mad. Can you imagine
Passing up this for Fox News?
No, seriously.
I am serious.
You gotta beat the heck out of him. That because he's an absolute individual who believes that unions are awful. So tell me why they're not.
Unions are not awful by any means. If it wasn't for unions, wages would be staggering across the country. Strong unions bring higher pay raises to all people, whether they're unionized or not. So if it wasn't for unions back in the day, we'd still have children working in coal mines and in factories. There's a lot better safety measures for everybody across the nation because of unions and because of what they've done since the beginning.
And I remember when everyone was heading out to Mexico, I remember some of the union people and heading across to China, etc. And they said, we have stopped children working in factories. Mm-hmm. We give people time to go to the bathroom. We do not lock the doors, not let people out. We pay them, etc. And everybody thought that was a joke. What happens? We find out in China, they locked the doors, there were fires, a lot of people got killed, they got kids working. You go to the same thing was taking place in Mexico, and all of a sudden you take a look and see the importance of unions. I don't think people really get it.
I agree with you, Ken. I don't think they agree with how important unions are, not only for the members that are in unions, but like I said, workers that don't even belong to unions. If it wasn't for workers, the unionized shops and unions in a whole, you would have companies that wouldn't be paying their employees anything because they have nothing to compare to. I feel as though unions set the rate for a comparable wage. So if a company doesn't want to unionize, then all they have to do is just pay their workers well and treat them well, and then the members won't have to unionize.
And a couple companies have done that.
Mm-hmm.
Walmart, is Walmart treating their people better or well, or?
I would say no. I would say Costco treats their employees very well. And,
Costco?
Yes, Costco treats their employees very well.
That's interesting.
And they're a non-union shop, but they're paid very well and they have very good benefits.
And why do you think Costco and well, of course, there are two different companies, and Costco is one, but Walmart is several, Sam's Club, to et cetera. Yeah, Costco. Well, the gentleman, I've seen him interviewed. He was really an interesting individual, and I love to hear people say it's the employees who work here that make the company. When you hear that from a person like that who's a multi-billionaire, he doesn't have to do all this stuff, but he does it. A great thing that's been taking place, first of all, in New Hampshire, we don't have right to work. I don't think we will ever have. But isn't it factual that really a lot of businesses don't want right to work in New Hampshire? Businesses, because unions help their businesses?
I believe that. I believe that's the case. I can't say that that's factual. I can say that right to work does not attract businesses. It does not attract companies into a right to work state. Right to work states actually have a higher unemployment rate than non-right to work states. If you look at the numbers, I believe it's 7 out of 11 of the lowest. 7 out of 11 of the highest unemployment states are right to work states. So that should tell you something right there.
Well, up here in New Hampshire, I know that we fought against it up at in the state legislature against unions. It came in once. It snuck in once for a little while, then it was voted out.
Yep.
And they did that late in the afternoon, where a lot of people have got jobs and they've got to go. If you're a fireman and you've got to get to a shift, you've got to leave. This happens to a lot of people. So what they did is they waited in the afternoon to pass the small little right-to-work thing, which didn't last long. And believe it or not, I had a bill up to study the economic impact of the arts and culture in the state of New Hampshire, and they want, instead of just a voice vote, they wanted a full vote. And of course, it passed, and I went up to the individual after, and I said, why did you do that? You knew it was going to pass. You knew it's for arts, it's to study. He says, Kenny, he says, we wanted to find out how many people were left in the building. How many Republicans, Democrats? Because today you press a button and you can literally go to your phone or your iPad and you can find out how people have voted within like 5 minutes. So he found out there were enough Republicans there, and a lot of Democrats had left, okay? And that's how it passed for, it was a right to work thing that just passed for a little while. And then when it came back, they called it back, and it was ruled out. But that's what people will do, pull these little things. But I can understand that. But I also heard that up here in New Hampshire, businesses like working with unions. Why is it that in New Hampshire, businesses would rather have unions?
I don't know, Ken. I'm more of public sector than private sector. So when it's coming to when you're talking about unions working with businesses, I can't answer any of those questions. I would like to think that maybe they realize that unions actually, when you work together with unions, they want the best of the company as much as the employer wants the best of the company, because everybody strives then. But as far as your question about whether or not New Hampshire businesses want the unions or not, I'm not sure on that question.
I heard when we were debating it up there that they liked the unity, because when you talk to one person, that one group can get the word out exactly what they wish to do and not to do. Right to work, I know it's going to come up again. And I'm obviously a union person, and I believed in that. And you do help people like myself who backs the unions. You tell people what you do for us.
Well, we do have the Nashua Firefighters Union does have a political action committee. Our political action committee will talk with representatives that may be running, state senate candidates that may be running, aldermen in the city that may be running, and we like to get an idea of what their interests are and where where they stand on some of our interests that we might have. For instance, somebody like yourself, who's always had a great track record voting in favor of labor across the board, whether it's public sector, whether it's private sector. We help you out if you need people to hold signs on polling days. We can do that for you. We get the word out to our members. Where Nashville Firefighters Local is 165 members strong. We get the word to our members that these are the candidates that are going to support the issues that mean the most to us. And it's important to tell you that it doesn't matter whether you're a Republican or you're a Democrat. We support. We are a bipartisan organization. We like to speak to anybody that is going to listen to the concerns of our members and what we'd like to see help with us at the State House.
I don't think people realize that.
Yeah.
Because I know it.
Yep.
Because you have backed people in Ward
Yes.
6
Yep.
who are Republicans
Correct.
against me. So I'm
Not
going,
against you,
What
Ken.
are you guys doing here?
No,
it's-
it wasn't directed
No,
against
I know.
you.
It's for you.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm glad I beat him anyway. But I don't think a lot of people really realize that there are, you want your unions, and everybody for some reason always thinks it's just Democrats.
Mm-hmm.
But that's not factual.
Not at all. Not at all. Like I said, we've had Democrats that have turned into enemies of ours because of a, I hate to say enemy, but an issue that they may not have supported that meant a lot to our members. And just like we've had Republicans support those issues as well. Yep.
Well, I'm glad to hear that, and I know that and you must understand, ladies and gentlemen, those who are watch this show. I do fool around a lot, but I'm not fooling around about this. Is that Republicans who have, when the Republicans have had the majority, the Republicans who stood up for the unions really got into a lot of trouble. Mm-hmm. They weren't treated right. Sometimes they were taken out of the committees. They were called rhinos. And because it seems, and not all Republicans, by the way, are against unions. I think there's kind of a mix there that people don't understand.
Oh, yeah. That's very true.
What do you see for the unions? How do you explain to people? Explain it to me. Right to work and unions. I want right to work. Tell me why I don't want it.
You don't want right to work because, as I had stated earlier, right to work, I think, is wrong it should be right to work for less. Because right to work states their employees, whether they're union or non-union employees, are making less. It's an average of about $1,500 and more that they're making less than non-right to work states. Their health care is less, their benefits are less. They're less likely to have health care through their employer. They're less likely to have any type of a retirement through their employer. A lot of the right to work states don't have union. The union membership is very low, very low. So to bring right to work to New Hampshire would be wrong for the state. They're not going to bring businesses in because New Hampshire turns into a right-to-work state. I don't believe that's going to happen, and I think that's bad for New Hampshire.
Well, I don't think so either, and because New Hampshire's doing very well.
Mm-hmm.
If we weren't doing very well and we didn't have businesses coming in, actually New Hampshire's doing very, very well. So here's a point where one can say unions have done good for the state. When I hear that 7 out of the 11 poor states have right to work, and yet there's a lot of unemployment, then what's the sense of it?
Mm-hmm.
Why would they do that to how are they selling this? We'll bring more businesses in here, or
That's, I think, how they are selling it. They're saying, I've heard it in the past from politicians that support right to work, that there are companies waiting and chomping at the bit to come to New Hampshire and bring their business to New Hampshire if we become a right-to-work state. I don't believe that at all. There's no facts to that, I don't believe. If there is, I haven't seen them.
I've heard that too, and I've asked, what businesses?
Have you gotten an answer?
Yeah, no.
No.
I haven't got no answer. No, and I haven't heard a company. I haven't heard a company really complaining. I think if the complaining is that they're losing stuff to overseas, and they blame it on the unions, which is dumb. Really.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, look, you do whatever you want with your business. That's your right.
Yep.
But when you go to a country and you got kids working, when you got them, as I said, you know, treating their employees awful because they can get away with it because there's no union type of thing. I don't think people realize that. And you know, there's an old story, and I've heard it a number of times, maybe you've heard it. This family comes to the United States, real Italian, very poor. They end up in New York and really in the slums. And there's 4 people, husband, wife, 2 children. They got in because his brother was here, living in a tenement, bathroom down the hallway, awful. So they get here, and the gentleman says, I'm going out to look for a job. And his wife is petrified because it's a new country, they got to learn the language. He comes home, he says, I got a job, 50 cents an hour. 50 cents an hour? You mean a day? No, an hour. Well, that can't be. And I got you a job too. Oh, okay, now it's 25 cents. No, you're going to get 35 cents. They don't pay women as much an hour. Well, okay, and then the kids will be working there because that's the way it is in our country. No, the kids got to go to school. We can't afford school. No, it's free here in the United States. And all of a sudden these people go, unions? They don't let unions take place in our countries. Well, what do they stop? The children from not, they've health risks, lots of benefits. And what happened is that unions literally have changed this country to, like what a lot of people would say, gold on the streets, but especially for this family. Can you imagine, 50 cents an hour, and this is a big deal. Of course, this, 2 generations, and the second generation, one of them goes to college. And in their countries, they never could. So I don't think I think living here in the United States, I don't think we really realize the importance of what unions have done.
They built the middle class. Safe to say that. Absolutely. One thing that I'd be remiss if I did not bring up also with right to work states is workplace injuries and deaths are higher in a right to work state than a non right to work state.
Why?
Don't know.
In other words, as a union, you would want.
That's the number one goal of all unions is the safety and health of all their members. That's our number one goal with Local 789 and our members of National Fire Rescue. After that is our benefits and our wages. So if you don't have a union watching out for you and taking the certain safety measures that are required for whatever job you're doing, the employers, you can only hope that the employer is going to be watching out. But that's what the unions. That's the main reason why unions were started, to watch out for the health and well-being of all their members.
Yeah, and we know this factually because when companies go across the seas, as we have talked about, you can see how they can get away with a lot. It's less money because they don't have, we'll use machinery, a safety screen where someone won't get hurt or aspects like that. Now, as a fireman in right-to-work states, how does that work? I mean, are there more firemen, less firemen? Do you have any idea how that works?
It negatively affects them in the aspect of a lot of the right-to-work states. A lot of them don't have collective bargaining as well, and collective bargaining to bargain a contract and to properly staff their equipment. Here in Nashville, we're very, very fortunate. We have an officer and 3 firefighters on every truck. You go south, and there might be two firefighters on a truck. That's
dangerous.
Very dangerous. It's extremely dangerous. The
You're not really
NFPA said-
saving money when you.
No, not at all, because for instance, NFPA 1710 come out with scientific facts of the amount of firemen that it takes to put out safely extinguish a single-family house, a garden-style apartment, and a high-rise building. Now, a single-family house, you're looking at minimum 15 firefighters. Okay, to put out your typical 3-bedroom Cape colonial. A garden-style apartment where you have much more people, you're looking at about 28 minimum. That's minimum. That's just to get the operations going. We're talking about advancing the first hose lines, search and rescue, as well as a
Search and rescue must be a big deal.
Yep. And then in a high-rise building, you're looking at minimum 40 people, 40 firefighters. So if you're only showing up with 2 firefighters on your truck, you're already behind the 8 ball. You need multiple people. You know it. So, and that's based on scientific studies that the NFPA has done. That's just going that's safety measures that should be across the United States. Now we're very lucky here in Nashua. We have fantastic manpower. Like I said, an officer and 3 firefighters. So every truck that rolls up has 4 firefighters on there ready to go. We have 36 members on duty at all times, 24 hours, 365 days a year. Now you go to other towns in New Hampshire, they might be less. They might be only running with 3 guys. But you go down south where some of these right-to-work states, and they're running with 2 firefighters on there. It's not safe at all.
And you know, as we build houses better and there is more fire protection and everyone, all right. And some people would do complain the cost of, we'll say firemen, all right, et cetera. But you know, you only need them once to save your life. And what happened to me was I was in an automobile accident where a person came across head-on collision. And I was, you know, coming out of it. And a off-duty fireman came over and he held me down. He said, "Don't move." And when they took me to the hospital, they said, "My God," he said, "look at your neck and your back." And he says, you know, they didn't say to me, it's a good thing somebody was there, but I obviously realized that. How many times do you guys go out and help people, which is not fire related?
Multiple times. We're doing, I think the numbers that just came across the other day was we've done 9,000 emergency runs in the city this year. That's as of October. So that's 9,000 times that we're going out the door and helping people. That might be a box alarm, a fire alarm activation, but we're doing medical calls. We're doing more medical calls than we've done in years past.
Why?
I don't.
Older population or the ambulance systems?
I think the city's growing. I think we're getting bigger population. I just think that we're responding to a lot more. Our EMS care has changed. We're able to do a lot more now than we were 15 years ago. So that adds to our call.
So you're the firemen and women.
Yes. Yeah.
That's evolving.
Absolutely.
You're doing more.
Absolutely.
So you may not be fighting the fires as people think, but you're out there helping a lot of people.
Absolutely. We get calls for so many different things that it may not even be a medical call. It might be no big deal to somebody, but it's a big deal to this person, and they call 911 and they get asked for the fire trucks, and we go and we show up and we do our best to help them. I mean, it could be
9,000.
Yeah, we still get
9,000.
9,000.
That's the first time I heard that statistic.
Yep.
So,
And I mean so we still have October, November, December, so 3 more months, 2.5 more months for the end of the year.
oh my God.
Yeah.
9,000. So, again, I never thought of that. How you guys would evolve. It's an evolution.
Well, you said yourself, car accidents. You know that I don't know when that accident happened, but I'm sure the fire department went and helped you out.
Absolutely, and it's a damn good thing that fireman was there, because when you're kind of out of it, you don't know what you're doing
Mhm.
until somebody says no. And I tried to find that person. I could never find him. It's hard to say to thank him. So if you're out there and you helped me in a collision probably about 10 years ago at All Street and Main Street, where you came in, you said, relax, I want to thank you. I couldn't find you, to be honest with you, but thank you. And I never thought of fire departments involved. Can you see other things that you guys might be going into to?
We have a hazmat team, so we're doing all kinds of hazardous material calls. Those are adding, to our numbers in the training that our members are doing. We have a dive team, which a lot of people don't realize we have a dive team. We have a dive team that's our hazmat team, our dive team, our entire fire department is top notch in the state of New Hampshire. But the dive team is always training. That's a very tenuous job that they need to do. We're all trained in confined space rescue, technical rescue, rope rescues, etc. Like stuff. So if people call, we go. We don't have the option to say no. We're not taking that. Nor would we.
Is it you guys still work on shifts, 24 hours?
24 hours on, 24 hours. 24 hours on, 48 hours off. 24 hours on.
How many years have you been doing it?
17 years.
17 years. When are you going to retire at 20 or?
No. Still love it. I'll be going.
And you've been the president of the union for?
I've been the president of the Local 789 for 3 years. 2 years. I just started my third term back in July. So, yeah, I was vice president before that for about 6 years.
And this is the first time you've done TV?
This is the first time I've been on TV.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, I've been nice to him. If Al Baldessaro is here, good old Al, excuse me,
Is that who you normally do the show with?
Yes, I do. I have to argue with this guy. He's so sensible, Al. I love the guy, and he's a Trump person. I'm not a Trump person, and I'm not asking this gentleman what he did. I'm not a Trump person, okay? But Al Baldessaro drives me nuts when it comes to Trump. I'm telling you, and I have to put up with this guy. But today, I'm really happy to have you. How can people get in touch with you? They want to talk with you.
If you wanted to talk with me, you could give me a call. You could actually email me at president@iaff789.org. Reach out to me that way. The phone number to our union office is 888-4200. You can reach me that way.
How many firefighters in the state of New Hampshire? Do you have any idea?
I do not.
Well, I think I've learned quite a bit. I hope other people have learned it. I like the idea of you guys evolving.
Of all the questions you were going to ask me today, it's one I didn't expect. How many firefighters in the state of New Hampshire?
Really?
Yeah.
Well, okay. President McAllister, I want to thank you very much. And my name is Ken Gage, and this has been The Art of Politics. And by the way, I am running again, and the union will help me, and thank you very much. Till next time, and Al, I'm sure, will be back. Thanks for watching.
The preceding program was provided by an independent producer solely responsible for its content. The opinions expressed do not necessarily represent the views of this station, its staff, board of directors, or underwriters.